The Stormlight Archives are a book series written by Brandon Sanderson, which I have been obsessed with recently. Now, I will try to keep this spoiler free, but you should really read the books before you watch this. If you haven't read the books, there are these special weapons called shard blades, which are described as appearing from thin air with trails of smoke and light, similar to the combat in Final Fantasy XV. At least that's the closest thing I could find. Now, that wasn't entirely accurate, and I had this visual in my head of how they are summoned, and I thought it would be really cool to try and recreate that in Unity. So that's kind of what I set out to do, and after a couple of days of work, I was pretty happy with the results. In the books, shard blades are revealed to be spren, which are kind of like spirits, and since they are living beings, they have the ability to change to whatever shape they want. So I tried to also implement that, which led to some very interesting and fun results, which I could really experiment with. Now, there was no point in having all of these different weapons if they didn't quite feel unique, and so I created a system which allows me to give each weapon their own animations. With the way this was built, I could also give different combos to the weapons and even combine them all together to create multi-weapon combos. Now, once I was happy with that system, I wanted something to hit to test it all out. So the following week or so was spent on creating enemies for me to focus on. I began by using dummies, but that was easily expandable to basic AIs that can follow me around. Now, aiming at a target, or multiple targets for that matter, was getting quite hard, so I also implemented a simple targeting system which allowed me to focus on one enemy at a time. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there are different types of spren which manifest in different ways, and so I needed to be able to control several aspects of the weapon summoning, such as their particles, their glow color, and how long they take to be summoned. So I spent a couple of days working on a method that allows me to do this easily, and so now I don't have to worry about any coding when I want to create new weapons, which has saved me a lot of hassle. Right, so finally, people who bond with a spren are called radiants, and there are different types of radiants who each get a couple of superpowers called surges. Now, there are way too many surges for me to explain, but for now I'm just focusing on the flight surge, which is a type of lashing. Now, lashing is essentially you can tell your body to go in a direction with a lashing and then change that direction with another lashing. So essentially you're tying kind of like strings to your body which pull you somewhere, and then you can drop a lashing or adjust it, which is what I'm trying to create here. At the moment, I'm just testing it out with just one lashing, which is that blue line you can see in this video, but I'm thinking of having several buttons assigned to several lashes, and that way you can adjust them and drop them as you wish. When I began working on this, I was still in the second or third book of the series, and many surges hadn't been properly explored yet. I am now in part 2 of the 4th book, and there are still new things showing up, and so I really want to finish that book before I continue properly working on this. But for example, there's this surge called light weaving, which allows you to create illusions and disguise yourself. There are these radiants called edge dancers that can essentially slide around instead of walking and also heal you. Stone wardens can meld into stone. And there are just so many cool options here that you can make, and so I'm very excited to try and implement these one by one. Just to end the video, I wanted to put out a disclaimer that I am not in any way, shape or form associated with Mr. Sanderson, and this will not be developed as a Stormlight game or anything of the sort. If anything, it could be called a fan game or a proof of concept, so please don't come for me. I am not trying to rip anyone else's work off. With that said, let me know what you think and what I should change or implement. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.